Hello friends and welcome to Smart Coach. Today we are taking up Marathas under the Peshwas as our topic. And in this topic you have to remember that the period between 1713 to 1761 is what is of great importance, and there are three Peshwas in particular which are of importance for our study. Okay, so going on in that schematic, we see that by 1713, we see that by 1713 the Peshwa Balaji Vishwanath comes to power, all right. And Balaji Vishwanath comes to power under the new ruler of Maratha Swarajya, that is Shahu, all right. And it is under Balaji Vishwanath that the civil war within the Marathas that was raging between Shahu and Tarabai regarding the succession to the throne of the Swarajya. It is under the reign of the Peshwa Balaji Vishwanath that civil war gets decided in favor of Shahu. And you will also have to remember the fact that Balaji Vishwanath belongs to a very humble category. Okay, he was just a market officer, or sorry, revenue officer, and later on he gets promoted to the position of the Peshwa, and by 1713 he makes himself a very instrumental part of the Maratha Empire, all right. And so much so that the position of Peshwa becomes even greater than the position of the Maratha Chhatrapati himself. Okay, so we have to remember the fact that from 1713 begins the reign of the Peshwas. Okay, as far as the Maratha Empire is concerned, it is the beginning date of the reign of Peshwas, and the Peshwas now become more important than the rulers themselves, all right. And Balaji Vishwanath's reign, it stretches from 1713 to 1720, and this reign as Peshwa of Balaji Vishwanath is very instrumental in shaping the history of the Maratha Empire, because as I already told you, it is the fact that under Balaji Vishwanath what happens is that the civil war gets decided, and also the Mughal Empire, okay, under Emperor Farrukh Siyar, it recognizes the Mughal Empire, it recognizes the reign of Shahu as the legitimate reign. Okay, Shahu's reign is legitimized by the Mughal Emperor Farrukh Siyar as the reign of the legitimate Maratha ruler over the Maratha Swarajya, and that was achieved by a diplomatic tact. How is it is that the Balaji Vishwanath, he diplomatically he makes a deal with the Sayyid brothers who control the court of Farrukh Siyar, all right. Sayyid brothers, who are two brothers who control the court of Farrukh Siyar. Balaji Vishwanath makes a deal with the Sayyid brothers, all right, and the Sayyid brothers become instrumental in rectifying the reign of Shahu as the legitimate reign of the ruler of the Maratha Swarajya, and that is the highlight of Balaji Vishwanath's rule. Apart from that, under Balaji Vishwanath, the position of the Peshwa becomes a hereditary position. That also you'll have to remember. This is a particular word which you use. Okay, all right. So you have to remember the fact that hereditary or heredity becomes the principle for extension to the position of the Peshwa, and therefore in 1720 we see that Baji Rao, the son of Balaji Vishwanath, all right, Baji Rao becomes the ruler of the Marathas. How? Because already the Peshwas had become the real ruler of the Marathas. So Baji Rao comes to position, and Baji Rao is the most important Peshwa that you are going to study. Important because he was a great warrior, and warrior in the to the tune that it is said that he fought 40 battles and he never lost, all right. He never lost a single battle. He remained undefeated, and it was his avowed goal that after becoming the Peshwa, he will weaken, or if possible destroy, the reign of the Mughals in India and make the Maratha power the supreme power within India. And therefore we see that Baji Rao's rule as Peshwa is very is very important in the history of India, in the history of shaping how the political history of medieval India goes, all right. And as far as Baji Rao is concerned, what you have to know that he comes into conflict with the Nizamul Mulk, that is a governor under the Mughals, all right, who has also become independent, all right. So he also comes in conflict with the Nizamul Mulk, and he signs the treaty of Sarai Durai, all right. And through this treaty, he acquires Bundelkhand and Malwa, all right, from the Nizamul Mulk. Apart from that, it is Bajirao who also goes into a conflict with the Portuguese in India, and he acquires the two provinces of Salsette and Bassein from the Portuguese, all right. And his rule is also, intermittently, his rule intermittently also goes on into conflicts with the Mughals, all right. So there are intermittent conflicts with the Mughals, and this becomes endemic of his rule. Why? Because of his fact that he vowed to the destruction of Mughal power in India. So another important highlight of his rule is the fact that his rule is intermittently, interspersed with conflicts with the Mughal. As I already told you, one of his avowed principles was the destruction or the weakening of the powers of the Mughal in India, and the increase or the rise of the prestige of the Marathas in India. And therefore, we see that conflicts with Mughals, all right, it becomes a highlight of his rule, okay. And you will also have to remember that it is during the reign of Bajirao as the Peshwa that the Maratha Confederacy, all right, Maratha Confederacy also forms, all right. It will get its concrete shape later on, but the Maratha Confederacy, the seeds of the Maratha Confederacies were sown during the reign of Bajirao itself, all right. Why? Because he wanted to challenge the Mughals, all right. And in order to be able to challenge the Mughals, the Marathas required to move out of the southern portion of India, and because of this, a system of confederacy was founded, whereby certain important Maratha families were given, hold or stronghold over areas in northern India, such as the Holkars, the Sindhyas, the Gaikwads, and the Bhosles, all right. They were interspersed in different portions of India, especially the northern portion of India, the borderline between the northern and southern portion of India, all right. And the Maratha Confederacy, it also finds its genesis within the reign of Peshwa Bajirao, all right. In a separate video, I have already talked about the Maratha Confederacy. You can check out the video for a greater detail on the Maratha Confederacy. However, moving forward, we see that the reign of Peshwa Bajirao, it lasted from 1720 to 1740, all right. And after 1740, we see that Balaji Bajirao becomes the new Peshwa, okay. Balaji Bajirao becomes the new Peshwa, and under Balaji Bajirao, a very significant event occurs, and that is in 1761, we see the Third Battle of Panipat. And the specificities of the Third Battle of Panipat has already been talked about in a separate video, but for this video, what you have to know that the Mughals have come under an agreement with the Marathas, all right, and the Marathas have been granted the Chauth rights from certain northwestern provinces of the Mughals, and also the revenues of Agra, all right, specific districts such as Agra, all right, in return for what? In return for protection against external aggression. And this happened after the invasion of Nadir Shah. Why? Because the Mughals had become so weak that they could not defend themselves, and therefore they were looking for an ally who would defend the Mughals in case of external aggression. And the Marathas were the only power which was capable of such a feat, and therefore the Mughals had come into an agreement. And therefore, when the Third Battle of Panipat occurs, it is not the Mughals but the Marathas who are fighting against Ahmad Shah Abdali or Ahmad Shah Durrani, all right. So that is the highlight of Balaji Bajirao's reign, all right, the agreement with the Mughals and the Third Battle of Panipat. Also, you have to know the fact that in the Third Battle of Panipat, his son Vishwas Rao was killed, and also one of his cousins, that is Sadasiv Rao, was killed, all right, in the Third Battle of Panipat. And upon hearing the news of the defeat of the Marathas in the Third Battle of Panipat, it is said that Peshwa Balaji Bajirao, he died, all right, and he was succeeded by a slew of weaker Peshwas, all right. And after 1761, and that is the death of you see Peshwa Balaji Bajirao, we see that the powers of the Peshwa over the Maratha Confederacy, it starts to weaken, and later on even the Maratha Confederacy, it is not able to it is not able to put up against the you see onslaught of the British through the Anglo-Maratha wars, and therefore we see that after Peshwa Balaji Bajirao and after the third battle of Panipat itself, the importance of the Marathas, the importance of the Peshwas, they start to decline, and with the Anglo-Maratha wars, all right, with the Maratha Confederacy, we see that Maratha power in India itself declines, all right. Some of the important you see successors of Peshwa Balaji Bajirao are Madhav Rao, Narayan Rao, Madhav Rao the second, and Bajirao the second. All right. So you will also have to remember the successors of Balaji Bajirao. All right. So let me write down the name: Madhav Rao, Narayan Rao, Madhav Rao the second, and Bajirao second. All right. So these are some of the Peshwas who succeed, you see, who succeed Balaji Bajirao. All right. So the fact is, as I already told you, after Balaji Bajirao and the third battle of Panipat, the Peshwas don't hold much authority, and they play a very facilitating role. All right, with the British also forming alliances with the British, forming subsidiary alliances with the British. So the next stage of the evolution of the Maratha state, all right, the next stage of the evolution of the Maratha state is interconnected with the British policies in India, and for that you can check out our video regarding the Anglo-Maratha wars. So with that I take your leave. I hope that the you see Marathas under Peshwas, okay, the topic which we picked up is quite clear to you from this video, and I hope that you enjoy the video, and I hope you will keep working hard and you will succeed with time. Thank you.